Look how far we've come, all the things we've done. Did it all with love, beauty from the bottom up. All I want is you, you're my favorite view. But there's nothing new, girl, you made my heart beat.
And we are back.
We are back, Bumble Bitches.
Season 3 of episode 4. Season 3, episode 4 of the To Be Better podcast.
Episode 4 of season 3. That's where you were going with it.
So you just did you were just a guest on somebody else's podcast.
I did.
How'd that go? What was it?
I had fun. I went on Tratty Baddies with Buff Bell and Modern Morticia. And we had some really good conversation, in my opinion. We talked about sex being weaponized in relationships. We talked about what submission means to us in our marriages and schmexy time. Didn't get too in depth into that, though.
Are all three of them, are the other two, all three of you in DS relationships?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Laughs were had. Cries were had.
There was definitely laughs and cries. I heard all that from the other room.
Yeah. I gushed about you a lot.
I heard a little bit of that too.
I love talking about my husband. That's one of my hobbies.
Because I'm very interested is not the right word, because I'm very in tune to the things that are going on in your life. I want to be involved in a lot, and I don't want to miss shit when it comes to our life. So like I ended up having to put my headphones on.
Yeah.
Because I was in there writing my book, and I didn't want to hyper fixate on what you were talking about out here and fuck that up.
Yeah.
So I put on some music and just banged out chapter 8 of my book, but I am actually looking forward to watching it. Mm-hmm. We have the OBS file because I recorded from our end, so I'll be able to sit down and actually watch it before it comes out too. So that's exciting.
Dope.
But I'm pretty pumped. I'm glad that you had fun with that. I really want to start doing other people's podcasts.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in studio, although I would prefer to travel and do that because then we can travel and write it off.
Right.
But I do want to do guest stuff on other people's podcasts. Troy has his own podcast coming out.
Oh, how exciting.
It is. And he's going to be doing one of the topics that he has is psychedelics.
Nice.
And I reached out to him and I was like, bro, if you talk about that and I'm not invited, I'm going to take it very personal. Mm-hmm. So I also saw that Conservative Ant is going to be creating his own podcast. He's looking to move out of his house and into another place so he has his own room.
Oh, that's dope.
And I will also take it personal if he doesn't reach out and try to get us on his podcast after all we've done with him.
I agree with that, yeah.
I think that tit for tat. We still owe Joe an episode, the older millennial. Every time I schedule with him, something comes up and we just can't do it.
What do we mean we owe him? Because he has a podcast?
He does.
Gotcha.
Yep, and he asked once and I canceled the date because we had an emergency. And he was like, just let me know when you're ready to go. And every time I talk to him, like, bro, I didn't forget about you. And I haven't.
Life is a lot.
Life is a lot.
Yeah.
So, yep. Where is that going to air? Oh, so before we move on, hold on. Everybody that's listening to this on Spotify or any podcast app or watching on YouTube after the fact, we do record these episodes live with our Patreon community. If you're not a part of the Patreon community, you are missing out on live interactions. And we go live 3 to 6 times a week.
Yeah.
And we're adding live streams. We're going to be doing after hour content, a whole bunch of other fun shit. So as we answer the question that was just read, know that we are being interacted with while we are live from our Patreon community. So as we stop and say so-and-so said such and such, you guys are getting a small interaction of that. The question was, where is that going to air? I don't know who those people are, but I would still love to see the interview.
So it is Tratty Baddies across all platforms. I saw on there while we were recording that they have X, they have Instagram, they have Facebook, they have Spotify, YouTube. They're all over the place. This episode is going to air this Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on their Patreon. And then it's going to be released to all other platforms the following Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay. I feel like we should release it to our Patreon Friday as well then.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
I agree with that, yeah.
That gives us time also to edit and put it together and make that work. The episode that we recorded yesterday for our Patreon community that did not get recorded, we just recorded something, should go live today at some point. We have a live stream tomorrow for Wednesday, and then I don't think we're going to be doing anything else until Friday night because we're trying to, this week is busy. It's busy.
What's today? Tuesday?
Today's Tuesday.
Yep, tomorrow is a no school day. And we have to go live. Thursday, I have to drive our daughter out of town to get her cast removed. Friday, I have an appointment.
Yep.
Saturday, we may be meeting somebody halfway. to hang out for a little bit.
I forgot all about that. This is why you handle the schedule, babe.
Yes.
I am so fucking grateful for you for that. I'm so grateful for you because of that. Because you
Of you. I'm so grateful of you.
I really
You
appreciate
hold grace
it.
for me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're amazing. I don't want to have to think about that. You just point me in the direction and tell me to go, wind me up and leave me alone. I got you. Ting, 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 ting. I'm the monkey. I got it. I just need to know where to go and I need the wind up.
Right.
So
I like tedious tasks too. So that winding is nothing for me.
yeah.
Packing those capsules was a pain in my dick the other day. I don't want to think about that.
I was going to hit you with that and the folding of the ground tarp for the tent in the living room.
Oh yeah, you unfolded that thing and I was like, I wonder how he's gonna fold that back up. And then you were like, babe, do it. And I was like, what?
You like tedious tasks. Enjoy. We got that shit back in there quick.
We did. It was really fast. The breakdown of that tent was one of the easiest things I've ever done.
Yeah. For camping, absolutely.
Yeah.
Charles sent me pictures of the Bronco.
Oh, nice.
He's got my suspension completely mounted. He did the it's two ums in a single sentence, but I can't think of the word. The steering rack mount. I bought one that's made out of one solid piece of billet aluminum.
Okay.
So that it doesn't break, because that's what breaks a lot on the Broncos. And I had him pull all of my old parts and put them in boxes, so that as we break your truck, we have
That's
backups.
smart.
And then when we break the backups, then we can upgrade yours as well.
That's
So
smart.
I thought so. I thought it was pretty
See,
slick.
this is why I want to lick your brain.
With farva beans.
Start calling you Clarice.
We have, I have to run to the post office today. We have a package from Jada Bell.
We also have one from Buff Bell.
Oh,
She sent us tea.
well then we definitely need to go. I'll have to go do that today.
Okay.
So
I have to go to the store today. I need to pick up sodas.
did I tell you that I booked our photographer for Vegas?
You did.
Okay.
Those 2 days. I'm excited to see her again. She's very good at what she does.
I sent her information to Jay as well,
Dope.
because they're wanting to do a
Oh,
boudoir
I
shoot.
love that. I love that. I hope they go through with it.
Me too. I'm really looking forward to hanging out with them while we're out there.
Janae, I love you too. You hold a special place in my heart.
Rose Thorne on the chat said, on that note, do you think it's the responsibility of you or your partner to schedule and visiting with your partner's family? Our situation is not the same as your situation. If you have a life like ours, whoever's handling the scheduling is handling the scheduling. I don't ask her to pay her car payment, and she doesn't ask me to book shit. I book the vacations like, hey, what do we have going on this week? Nothing. Okay, cool, we're going. Otherwise, you handle all of that. Yeah. I don't want to be responsible for that. You have a lot going on in our personal lives that you handle.
Yeah.
And I have a lot going on in the business side. So I just I'll text you, what do we got? And I have access to the calendar. Realistically, I could be looking, but in the event that there's something missing, I don't want to deal with that shit. If I want to go to Tennessee and see our family, we have a discussion about that.
Right.
But we book vacations around those times. We don't have anyone locally that is family to do that with. So that it doesn't, I don't know. I don't really have an answer for that. What do you think?
It depends on the family dynamic. If it's a monster-in-law and not a mother-in-law, I'm not talking to her.
That's fair. That's very fair.
Yeah.
Speaking of monster-in-laws, we should be getting an update soon
Perfect.
from her.
I love that.
She's still in the Discord.
I know. I was talking to her the other day.
Yeah. She said that she's got a really big update that's going to come through, which will be cool because that for the people who've been in Patreon for the last 2 years, we'll be able to
The monster
to part
slayer.
7 or part 8 of whatever that is. Yeah.
Today's day 7 of my tolerance break.
Yeah. How's that going?
Surprisingly well.
You're going to talk about that whole thing because by the time this airs, the tolerance episode will have been live.
So it's been 7 days. What? It's been, 7 hours and 14 days? Isn't that a song? Been 14 days. Some like broken love song or whatever. It's gotten a lot easier. I don't crave it when I am anxious or need it in a moment where I think I can't handle my emotions. When I started medicating myself, I was, 18, 19 years old. I am not the same person I was when I started smoking. So I really haven't given myself the opportunity to see how I cope with life now.
As you've healed.
As I've healed, yeah. So I was still using the same coping mechanism that I was using at 18 years old. I have grown a lot, and there was an anxiety in me in taking the tolerance break. I almost didn't do it. I drove the kids to school that morning, and I was like, I'm gonna do a tolerance break. And I dropped them off. They got out of the car, and I was on I was getting ready to turn on to 41 by that Best Buy, and I was like, I'm not gonna do this. And I was like, okay, now I'm gonna tell my husband, because that's like the second or third time I've thought about taking a tolerance break and just not done it because the thought of not smoking gave me anxiety. And that's when I messaged you, and I was like, I'm gonna do a tolerance break. And I was like, okay, well, now it's real. Now it's in reality. I can't just back away from this, because my husband views me as a woman of her word, and I'm not going to throw that away because I want to smoke.
I've noticed a difference in you.
Yeah.
Yep. You're not as forgetful. You're a lot more in the moment. There's been a resurgence of physical contact all the time instead of some of the time. I'm enjoying the tolerance break, Peaches.
Yeah. I there's also a difference in my singing voice.
You're not coughing as much, although you did have a fit last night.
I did. What that was, the air in our room is getting so cold. My throat's really dry. I was dead asleep when I started coughing. I was so pissed at my body. I could have ripped my throat out last night and been like, you dumb bitch, go sleep in the corner. I was so mad. My body betrayed me. But that was because it was an amalgamation of not having any moisture in our air in the bedroom, my throat being dry, and the air being so cold, it felt like it was burning. And it triggered a little coughing fit.
I had a full-on allergy attack last night.
Yeah, you did.
Snot, itchy eyes. I don't know what the hell hit me last night, but it hit me hard.
Yeah, your eyes look a lot better today.
Yeah, they're not itchy at all. I haven't had it itchy this morning. Last night sucked. But I have absolutely nothing that I want to get into today about in terms of like life shit. So we can, if you just want to record, we can record. If you or email, if you don't want to email, we can just talk. But this is, I mean, technically we're supposed to read emails because it's episode 4.
Before we jump into this email, this can be cut or you can leave this in here. I don't care. For everybody who is joining into our Discord, I don't accept friend requests on Discord. I don't accept private DMs on Discord. The only way to get in contact with me on Discord is to @ me in any of the public chats.
Publicly, yep.
I've received maybe 10 or 11 friend requests within the last 3 days. So I'm ignoring it. I'm ignoring the friend requests, but I want it to be known that this has been well stated, well established, and it's in the rules of the Discord that we don't do that.
People don't really read that shit.
No,
they just click
don't.
it.
Yeah.
We could put a little disclaimer in there like, by clicking this, you're selling your soul. And people would still click it because they don't read it.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody ever reads those things. I don't read them.
By clicking this, you're agreeing to give us $1,000.
Yeah.
Read that shit real quick.
Yeah.
All right. So to elaborate on that, the only private DMs that I respond to are the women in my private women's group. The Doe Femme group, it's $115 a month. Those are the only women that I will one-on-one DM with. And that's because
They're paying for your time.
they're paying for my time and my attention and my brain.
I want to real quick just read a couple of things that she wrote, that Rose wrote on here, and continuing of what she's doing while you're pulling up emails. And then we're not going to address the chat anymore until after we're done. Rose said, after years of not going to his sister's, he was mad at me for not visiting with his mom. Let's see if there's any more, because she said, any thoughts on my above comments? I don't see anything else up there. So that whole situation is, I got to be honest, I don't think that there should be a level of frustration there. If he wanted you guys to go to the family, there should have been a talk between the two of you of what the plans were. Mm-hmm. But you're not responsible for his family. I really am big on this is our family now. And anything that we do beyond us is a benefit to other people. And I know that sounds arrogant, but we don't have to do that shit.
Right.
If we decide to do Christmas for the kids and we decide to do it at home, I don't want to hear shit from anyone. Well, why didn't you come up here for Christmas?
We didn't want to.
Because I have my own family. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do what I want to do for these holidays. I understand that you guys miss me and I love that, or us or whatever. But I don't owe you that. Like this, my family is my priority. Inside this house is my priority. Anything beyond that is when convenient for us.
Right.
So.
I have an email pulled up.
Yeah, run it. Let's go.
Possible issues in the future.
Hey, I love you. And I've been enjoying the shit out of the content we've been creating over the last few weeks. And I just want you to know that before you get into that.
Okay, I love you too.
This has been very enjoyable for me for a while now. You want me to just...
Yeah. Well, that's not trash, yeah.
This is.
Yeah, that is. I didn't want you to take that.
I'm going to go put this over there, though.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, I'll sit right here.
Can you verbalize things like that more, please?
I've told you that. We've
know.
talked about it a little bit. I just wanted to remind you right now, in the
Just-
moment.
In moments where you think of things like that. Because the other day you said, like I'll be saying something to our 5-year-old and you'd be like, what is that? Like, where did that come from, you intelligent person? And hearing things like that in the moment is nice for me. Okay. This is titled Possible Issues in the Future. Hey, Chris and Peaches. I just want to start out by saying that I only recently discovered your podcast this past January when my boyfriend sent it to me and suggested that we listen together. And so far, I'm on episode 35, behind, I know. But since then, I now follow you both on all social media platforms, as does my boyfriend. And I listen to your podcast on the way to anywhere I'm going in the car and also at the gym.
And pause. So thank you, fucking thank you for supporting us the way that you're supporting us. Mm-hmm. I know that we promote the Patreon a lot because that is the main source of our business aspect of this. But sharing the content and turning other people onto the content, having discussions is the greatest way to ensure that we continue doing what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Because even if you don't want to join the Patreon or you can't afford it or whatever the case may be, the 3 to 5 to 10 people that you turn on the podcast, maybe 1 or 2 of them will. It's going to help build the platform. It's going to grow our community, and it's going to make sure that in a year or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, we're still sitting here doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
It matters, and it doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you guys for that. It means a lot.
Can't wait to be a 80-year-old woman with all of the wisdom.
I don't want to be 80.
No.
Nope.
I want to be a great-grandmother. Like right now, I feel like a mom to the masses. I want to feel like a great-grandmother to the masses.
Yeah, you want to feel like that crazy old lady in the hut that's got like proverbs and riddles for the youngsters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to piss off everybody with my speech. Over here talking like the Riddler.
The hell did she mean? And then they turn 30 and be like, oh, I get it now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What are you going to call yourself as a grandma?
I've been thinking about that.
Because my family's always been Mamaw and Papaw. Like that's...
No. I like something like Bella, maybe.
Is that a thing? Or is it just something you're making it up?
It sounds classy and elegant.
That doesn't mean
Let me go
grandma in
ask
any
my
language.
Bella. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm still going to be Papaw.
Okay.
So
Bella and Papaw. I like that. Beauty and the Beast. Same energy. I like it.
All right.
I'm going to be that old woman who wears silk all the time and nice jewelry when I go out to the post office. Yeah.
I believe that.
Yep.
I think that your idea of what nice jewelry is may shift as you go, but
Yeah.
I think that as you get older, you're going to regress more into that earthy woman.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Somebody said in the chat that I kept mentioning to a friend and they finally checked it out, meaning the podcast. They said they agreed a lot about what they were saying, but it made him feel like he was falling short. And then they said some uplifting stuff. The things that we say are going to trigger people, and that's a good thing. It should be challenging enough to you that you realize that you're not reaching your full potential as a human being.
Right.
Everybody is going to fall short. We're all going to be imperfect, but you have the option to improve your future. I really want to dive into that because my brain is still stuck on that because I literally just wrote an entire 6,000 word chapter about past, present, and future, but I'm going to stop because we're reading an email.
Okay.
I'm focused.
I think a book breakdown of your book would do really well.
Why you got to do that? You just
Why?
made me nervous as shit with that. Just saying that gave me anxiety.
I'll do a book breakdown for you. I'll read your book and break it down. I don't know. I want to shout from the mountaintops that my man's doing something.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to see it and be excited about it.
Well, maybe we can do that as some Friday night content. Maybe that's what we'll just do for the next 10 Fridays or something.
Okay. Don't be your own obstacle.
I'm not. I'm going to hand it over and let you do your own thing and just panic the whole fucking time you're doing it.
Okay.
that anxiety right before you jump out of an airplane is going to be me up until the point of publishing the book.
Yeah.
And once I submit it for publishing and put it up for sale, all of that's going to go away because it's done at that point. There's nothing I can do about it. It's out to the masses.
Right.
But until then, there's a whole lot of insecurities and what if and doubt. Oh, there's a lot of doubt, but I'm doing it. I will finish the book one way or the other. And I've decided that I am absolutely going to publish it. I just...
You're giving me the gumption to finish my book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my current hyperfixation.
Yeah.
I've written 8 chapters in less than 2 weeks. I might be able to write the entire book in less than a month.
Yeah. Continuing on.
Yes.
You guys teach me something new every day, as well as help me to understand things about myself and grow into both a better partner for my man, as well as a better person in general. So thank you. I'm not sure this email will even be one that you answer, but I've been considering writing to you guys for a while now, and I hope to be able to hear what you have to say. Regardless, thank you for all that you do. You're making a real difference. This may be a bit different from your normal content, as it is not specifically about my partner and I, but more about things I believe could further affect us in the future. Is this a whole email about what ifs?
I mean, that could be fun, though, if it is.
Let's find out. I'm a 20-year-old female, currently in college for psychology. My boyfriend is 22, and he works full-time as a welder. We have been dating for a little over a year now, and so far, everything has been what I can only describe as perfect. Even before your podcast came up for us, we both knew we wanted a traditional relationship, with him taking the lead as the man, and me being able to completely trust in his ability to lead.
I love that. I really am becoming a softie. I think that as I heal and I'm becoming a little bit more okay than grind, just a little bit. Like it's getting there.
Yeah.
But like we're watching TV and we're currently binge watching Superman and Lois.
We are.
And though there's a lot of things in that show that I don't like, there's a lot of
moments.
Right, where I'm viewing situations from a much softer perspective that I wouldn't have had before. So
I think that's beautiful.
yeah, it's pretty gangster. Well, it's probably not gangster. It's the opposite of gangster.
Right. No, but that's the terminology you're used to.
Yeah, to make me feel better. It's manly.
Right.
It's manly tears.
That's dope as fuck,
Fucking
babe.
proud of you, dog. Let's go.
Hey, let's go spit on something. Me. Spit on me. Continuing on. We had these types of conversations very early in our relationship. An example being that he once told me, if we are out somewhere and I tell you we need to leave, I need you to trust me and do that without needing a reason right away or pushing back. I need you to trust that I have a good reason, as something could be dangerous or happening behind the scenes that I noticed and you didn't. I absolutely love this about him, and although I want more than anything to be this for him, at first this type of submission was a big adjustment for me. But through listening to y'all and in my own self-reflection, I know now how important this type of trust is, and I work to do this and more for us every day. I can truly, with full confidence, see this man as someone I will marry and start a family with someday. As you both say, when you know, you know.
Could you imagine, since we're hypothetically and what ifing is what we think this email is going to come down to, could you imagine being in a situation with your partner and knowing that there's an active shooter situation, right? You see somebody scanning and indexing. They're constantly touching their weapon or whatever the case may be, and they're looking around, and you think that there's really about to be some foul shit that happens, and you lean over and be like, hey, we really need to leave right now. Well, I'm having fun. I don't want to go anywhere. Why do you want to fucking leave? And like, there's this big hoopla.
Jessica's not even here yet.
And then the next situation, and you're hiding behind a table as open, things are ringing out. Like, there says a lot about the way you are viewed as a leader. If you were to say some shit like that, and your woman, speaking from a man's perspective, your woman was to be combative. We've only been in one position where I've had to direct you. Yeah. And there was no questions asked. When we got in the car, I'm like, thank you so much for not fighting with me in the moment. Like, you just did it. And then we had a whole conversation about what was going on. And it made me, it solidified everything that I believed in us. But it truly showed me that you trust me as the leader of our life. Yeah. And that was a high point for me. Like, that's one of the most memorable things in our relationship, because it made me feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing
as a man.
As a man, right? Because it's one thing to try to lead. It's another to have people follow you without question in a moment like that. It meant a lot. It's a big deal.
I am making my way downtown. You with scheduling the ting, ting, ting. Me when we're out in public.
Yeah.
Yep. Rose-colored glasses everywhere. I'm not paying attention to shit besides your ass walking in front of me. As I am still in college, I live at home with my family during breaks in the summer when I'm not living at school. My boyfriend has been on his own, working and living on his own since he was 17, as he was in the Marine Corps for a couple of years right out of high school, and basically never lived back home again.
Love that.
When I live at home, he is about an hour and a half away from me, but we see each other once a week on weekends and whenever else we can. His apartment is 5 minutes away from my college, so when I am at school, I see him every single day, which is wonderful. We have, however, run into a few bumps in the road because I live at home. I come from a very traditional Catholic family. I'm Catholic as well, which means that under no circumstances when I'm living at home am I allowed to stay overnight with him. This has caused some tough conversations for us, as we both would love to spend more than just one day a week together during my time at home. But this has made things difficult when I cannot stay the night. He does not agree with this, as he thinks that because I am an adult, I should be making that decision for myself. I agree, but this is tough. My parents brought me up very strictly, which in most ways I'm grateful for, but in others, I don't see it as healthy.
So, she's living with her parents while she's not at school.
Right.
I'm assuming the parents are helping fund her life right now.
I would assume so.
So while your parents are doing for you, the least that you can do is respect them. And as an adult, that's the decision you're making.
Right.
So you can't say that he's upset because you're an adult and should be making your own choices. You are making the choice.
You are.
To be respectful to your parents while they're doing for you the way that parents should be doing for you. Mm-hmm. You're also Catholic. So you're making a choice to honor your parents. You're making a choice not to be staying the night over there.
Yeah, you shouldn't be having sex before marriage if you're Catholic.
Right. So in the event that you're at school, are you staying the night at his house while you're at school? Because if so, you are going against your parents. And now you're living in you're being a hypocrite.
Yeah.
You're living in a hypocritical state where 1 week he's got you and then the next he doesn't, because you have to live a false life while you're at home. Mm-hmm. There needs to be a conversation about that.
Yeah.
I think you and your parents need to have a very real conversation, especially if you're already sleeping over there.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of hurt. Because I'm willing to bet that if she is sleeping over there while she's at school, the parents don't know about it.
It'd be a betrayal.
And there's a lie.
Yep. See, once our kids turn 18, I have different expectations for our children.
I do too.
Right? I will never turn our son away, though. Right? If something happens, say his wife divorces him and he loses everything in the marriage, you can come and stay here for a little bit. I'm not going to turn you away and make you live under a bridge because you just got fucked over in life. I also don't foresee our son being somebody who's a shitty person and puts themselves in predicaments to lose things. When it comes to our daughter, though, I would rather her stay at home.
Till she's ready to marry?
Right. I did the single woman thing by myself, working my ass off. Being in an apartment by myself, yeah, I was safe, but I never really felt safe. I knew if at any point anybody broke into my apartment, I'm screwed. Like, hopefully I can get a kitchen knife before they get to me. I don't know. There was also a worry of like being followed home. Somebody followed me home and watched what apartment I walked into. Like, I don't know. There's that very real outside threat for me. And I don't want our daughter to have to experience that. Our son is being raised to be a provider and a protector. And when he turns 18, I expect you to already be providing. Should have a job by the time you graduate. And with our daughter, whether she wants to go to college or I think college is a waste of money. I would rather her get a trade and actually learn something.
Yeah, go to a vo-tech.
Yeah.
I would want the same thing for our son.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, you're not getting a job at the Apple store. You can get an entry-level job at McDonald's to make income while you're focusing on your career. Very high expectations for our children.
I think most parents do. Mm-hmm. I think the difference, and this is an arrogant thing to say, and I'm very aware of it. I think the difference is that we are very hands-on with the children.
Yeah.
And those expectations are not going to be, well, this is hard, let's give up. I'm not going to, and I know you're not, we are not going to allow their frustrations in life to
Hinder them.
dictate us in terms of our involvement. Because it's very easy for them to, I don't want to, and throw a fit and fucking act up. And parents be like, you know what, fine, whatever, be a piece of shit or whatever the case is.
I don't want to deal with it.
And I don't think that's going to be us.
No.
So
I want to touch on something and I'll continue on with my thought. Last night, our son was sitting there and he was like, I can't do this. And I was like, we don't say that. And he said it again. And I got down on the level and I looked into his eyes and I said his full name to him. And I was like, we don't say I can't. And I said his full name again. You can. Because you are my son. Because you have Pops as a stepfather. You can do this. I'm not playing that game. You're not weak. You're not a victim.
yeah, I hit them all the time with, it's not that you can't, it's that you don't know how.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here for. So let me show you how to do it.
Yep. If our daughter was in college, I also don't believe in dating. You're not going to be a girlfriend. You can court somebody. But once you recognize that this isn't somebody you want to spend the rest of your life with, we're going to cut ties. You're not going to be wasting time. You're not going to be wasting resources or energy. Both of the children. We're not doing that. So if our daughter is seeing somebody and she believes that this is something that's going to last, right? Because of the expectations that we have in our life, you're not going to be a girlfriend. I would hope that she doesn't want to be a girlfriend. I hope that she has more value in herself, that she sees the worth in what she has and what she brings to the table and isn't going to stand for, I've been a girlfriend for the last 10 years. If you want to go stay in the weekend at your boyfriend's house, go. Don't come home at 2 a.m. Doors are locked at 11. The door is locked, you got to sleep in your car, go sleep at a friend's house, call your boyfriend and drive an hour and a half back. That would be the ground that I stand on that. There is still a level of respect there, that this is my household and all of these other kinds of things. But I don't want to limit our child and her life experiences because I wouldn't do that.
Right. Yeah, I think these situations come down to trying to model what life should look like to the best of our abilities while they see the shortcomings of other people. And hopefully along the lines, we see our own shortcomings and are able to correct it so that they can see that humans make mistakes. And that's fucking okay. As long as you are able to recognize that there was something that you could have done better and then you start implementing change to correct it.
Well, the children are already seeing that with my yelling.
Yeah.
Over the last 2 years, I went from somebody who would yell once or twice a day because I'm so built up and overwhelmed and you guys aren't listening to me to just walk away for a minute. I'm frustrated with you. You're not listening. And now the next step is either you're going to get in trouble or you're going to go do what I asked you to do. It's the bottom line. And I recognize that when I, as a parent, getting escalated to the point to where they're not listening and I'm asking them 4 or 5 times to do something and they're not listening and they're dicking around or whatever that they're doing, I am becoming involved in a temper tantrum.
Ooh, that's a good point. You are.
Right. I am perpetuating behavior that I am upset that they're having. When I put my foot down, I go, this is what's happening. It's A or B, and you get to make that choice. There's no conversation beyond that. I told you what's going to happen. You can either go clean your bedroom like I've asked, or we can stand in the corner for 6 minutes, and then you can go clean your bedroom. Or we can double that time because now you want to throw a fit that you're in the corner.
Right.
We put a really big emphasis on the children that the faster you get the things done that you don't want to do, the more fun you get to have.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think our son's finally getting the hang of that idea.
He is. He jumped in the shower first last night.
He was quick with it too.
Yeah. Procrastination leads to failure.
Yep.
And I've been instilling that hard in him lately. Speaking on the elevated thing, the only time I ever get elevated with the children anymore is when you start getting frustrated or I think they're blatantly disrespecting you.
Yeah.
Like the other night when you guys were playing and I didn't know you were playing and I had a dad voice loud. And then I apologized to both of you because I didn't realize that you guys were fucking around. But I thought that she was in my head because of the tone. She was crossing her arms and okay. Well, okay
Yeah,
then.
she was going, okay. And I was like, okay. And she was like, okay. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's not how that played out in my mind because my back was to you guys.
Right.
But yeah, I apologized immediately, and I've gotten a lot better with having. It's like when they're getting ready to whine or throw tantrums. Dude, it's okay to feel what you're feeling right now. And you can, 6 years old, I don't care if you say this sucks. You can say that. It does. You want to play on your tablet. I get it, dude. I want to play PlayStation. I got shit to do right now though, and I can't, and that sucks.
Yeah.
But getting overly emotional and throwing a tantrum thinking it's going to get your way is not acceptable behavior. Men don't do that. And that's where that correction comes, because most men here, men aren't supposed to cry. That kind of shit.
Suck it up.
Suck it up. Put some dirt on it. You little pussy. Like,
Right.
none of that's happening.
No.
I want to foster that. It's great to feel those emotions. I want you to name them. Tell me what you're feeling. And I'm going to tell you why it's okay to feel that way, but we have shit to do.
Yep. Sometimes we have to schedule our crying, and that's okay.
Let's get back to the email. We side railed.
Okay. Continuing on, I grew up with virtually no privacy. My phone was constantly looked through in high school, and I wasn't really allowed to make room to make blah, blah, blah. And I wasn't really allowed the room to make mistakes at all.
I think that's problematic.
I agree with that. If they grow up in a childhood without making mistakes, all they're going to make as adults are mistakes.
Right. Your childhood is supposed to be those life lessons that teach you, first and foremost, how to be a good person. But those mistakes build confidence. If you fail and pick yourself back up and go, and then you start winning and succeeding, or that try and try again situation builds character.
Right.
I think that's necessary for children. And if they're failing and making mistakes while they're young in the house, it's safe.
It's controlled.
Yeah.
We're seeing that confidence building in our son now. So the children started their phonetics kindergarten. Our daughter is already passing our son when it comes to sight words and reading and sounding things out and whatnot. He struggled a lot with that. And he goes to speech therapy, so there's an added layer of he has a hard time pronouncing words. He has a hard time hearing words sometimes. And it was like pulling teeth trying to get him to practice reading a book. He did not want to do it. It was one of the most frustrating things to him because there was no confidence there. Yesterday, he read 3 books on the ride home from school. And then this morning by himself, or it was either this morning or last night, the children went about their day and they earned their tablets after shower time before bedtime. And Sissy was in the shower and I was like, son, go take your tablet. It's on the counter. When I say it's time to put them away, they're going to go on the kitchen counter again. And he was like, okay, mommy. And I walked away and I checked on our daughter and I was doing something else and I walked over and he was mumbling to himself. He was reading to himself. He could have been doing anything on his tablet, playing games, watching a movie, coloring, and instead he decided to sat there and practice reading a book. I was so proud of him. He's doing it on his own now because he sees the fun in it after getting past that moment of frustration. He can actually do it.
Yep. And he got it overnight. Like
he did.
He really was struggling and it just clicked for him. And when it clicked, it was go time.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait to load up his Kindle when it gets here.
Did you order it already?
No, I haven't ordered anything for Christmas yet.
Well, we'll do that this evening.
Okay. Continuing on, I spent a lot of high school feeling the need to lie to them about where I was going or who I was talking to, simply to avoid further questioning or extreme consequences. Even still, with me being 20, when I am home, I still feel as though I have no privacy. My parents have said since I started college that they wished I was more open with them and talked to them about everything. And being that I was under their constant watch for most of my life and that a lot of things, drinking, sex, etc., were simply out of the question and not talked about at all except being forbidden, I have a hard time making this adjustment and letting myself get close to them.
Because they had your best interest at heart? Think about what you just said, emailer. Think about what you just said. You're 20 years old. That's what she's 20, right?
Yep.
She has a hard time being close to her parents because they didn't want her going out and getting drunk and having promiscuous sex and going to parties and doing things that could potentially destroy her fucking life.
Right.
You're not even a quarter of the way through your life yet, assuming that you live to be 100.
Right.
Your parents had your best interest at heart.
Half your life ago, you were 10.
Yeah, let that sink in for a minute. I don't want our kids to not be able to come to us with their problems, but I also don't want them to think that it's okay to do shitty things.
Right.
I want you to hold yourself to a standard.
You know, we're starting to see that now. I'm starting to see that now with the children. They'll come to me and they'll be like, "Mommy, I have to tell you something." And I'll be like, "What?" And they're like, I'm scared that you're going to get mad, or I'm scared that you're going to get angry, or you're going to yell, or all these kinds of things. And I will get down to their level and be like, "I'm not going to get mad. Oh, I'm not going to yell. I might get mad at you. If you peed in my car, I'm going to be mad at you because you could have said something, but I'm not going to yell at you. The world's not going to end." And that has become less and less and less. And the other day, our daughter was going to tell me something, and she was like, "Mommy, I'm scared to tell you something." I'm like, "Why?" And she was like, "Because I'm scared you're going to yell at me." And I was like, "Sweetheart, have I yelled at you about anything recently, about you coming to me and telling me something? Have I yelled at you about it?" "No." "Okay, well, sweetheart, this is one of those moments where you just need to push past that and trust that my past behavior is going to show you it's not going to happen." And I use big words with the children, and half the time they don't understand me. I want them to be intelligent. And the only way to build intelligence is to use words that they have to learn to understand.
Right.
And it's been fucking hard. It's been hard biting my tongue and swallowing it because I've told you 40 times not to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to facilitate that environment where my mom's going to kill me if she finds out. I would rather them go, my mom's going to be upset, but I'd rather tell her versus Superman and Lois, Jonathan getting drugs from his girlfriend.
Right.
Like, and all of this fallout's happening. She's being chased by a drug dealer, and her dad's sick, and her mom died, and she's trying to support their family. It's a huge mess that this little 16-year-old kid got himself wound up in.
Right.
And he can't tell his parents because he's too scared to.
That speaks a lot to the parents. But it looked like this TV show, so it doesn't fucking matter.
Right,
but
it's a TV show.
It looked like Clark had never really come down on his kids. Mm-hmm. And then when he finally started coming down on his kids, they were like, "Oh my God, what the fuck?"
Yeah.
And you could see that in the characters and the way that they portrayed the situations.
They also made it a point to say that he wasn't really present.
Right.
Because he was choosing
To save the world.
to be Superman over being a father.
And with the way Lois Lane acts in that show, I wouldn't want to come to her with anything either.
Oh my God.
She's a very self-centered, everything is me.
Explosive.
I'm the strong, powerful
I need to be in
female
control.
character of the show. Bow to me. Right. So in a situation like that where you have overly...
Domineering.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a term for emotional dominance. I wonder if there's a word for that.
Maybe.
That means that you are emotionally overpowering the people around you. There's got to be a phrase for that.
Yeah. You can Google it.
If there is, that would explain why your children don't want to come to you, because they feel like emotionally you're just beating the shit out of them. They can't, they're not being seen. If your kids have a problem and they come to you and they're trying to talk to you about what's going on, and you're getting frustrated because they did something that you disagree with, and you're missing the emotional that's happening behind it, you're failing your kids.
You're being selfish.
Yes, you are.
You're being selfish because I can't believe my kid did this versus...
I'm sorry that you're going through that.
What happened? Why? Why did this happen?
Yeah. We really side railed.
Yeah, I just got mad emotional.
Why?
Because our kids aren't going to be this small forever.
Nope, they're not.
I don't want to fuck them up.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't want them to be 20 years old emailing into a podcast because I didn't do everything I could to be the best mom. And that just hit me out of the blue. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be the case with our kids.
I sit a lot in that feeling of how could they have done that as a parent. I sit in that feeling a lot, especially being a parent myself, and I never want our kids to have that thought process and try to understand my shortcomings or my failings, because there is no understanding that. Somebody can rationalize something to themselves and it makes sense to nobody else. And I don't want to put the kids through that of just why. Even now, when I am home, if I am on the phone with someone, they will come into my bedroom and ask who I'm talking to. If I spend too much time on the phone or just in my room, they will tend to make passive-aggressive comments about how I don't spend enough time with the family while I'm home.
They miss you.
Yeah.
This is a matter of perspective.
Right.
They could definitely be handling it better. But if you're at school all the time and you come home for the weekend or for a week every once in a while, they want to see you.
Right.
Especially, again, I know I keep saying, like, if they're paying for your life, they're doing it because they care about you. They obviously love you. They want to spend time with you while you're there. If you come home and lock yourself in your room and stay on the phone the entire time and you're isolating yourself away from the family, why are you even going home?
Right. That's also, like, to me as a parent, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, to me, it would be a red flag.
Why?
Because I understand that I've never raised a teenager. I'm not at that point yet. I will be. I remember being a teenager. And I am going to do everything differently than I've ever seen when it comes to raising teens. Yeah, you're not just going to sequester yourself into your bedroom. If you are, we're going to have a conversation about why. Mom, I'm just feeling depressed. Okay, well, you can sit in here for a day and then tomorrow we're going to do something, because you're not just going to sit here and whittle away in your self-pity. You can lay here, you can feel your emotions. I don't know. Self-isolation is one of the, that's just a red flag to me. Depression, anxiety, PTSD. Did something happen at college? Why are you all of a sudden hiding in your bedroom all the time? Did I say something? Did I do something?
That's where they have their freedom. If you have overbearing parents or people who are, you're living in somebody else's house and you have to follow their rules when you're in your room, you're in your room.
Right.
It's mine. I can do whatever I want in here, right? Like there's an aspect of freedom being in that room for a lot of teenagers.
Right.
I mean, I can rearrange my room right now if I want to, or I can clean it or make it dirty, or, there's a lot that goes into that. I got to be honest though. Again, this I could be overly optimistic or even be foolish, but I don't think that we're going to have a lot of the same issues that parents have with their kids. So
I agree with that. Continuing on, this has caused me to feel like I can only really talk to my boyfriend on the phone once I have gone to bed for the night, and I know that they won't bother me. I once got into a fight with my mother about this, explaining to her that me wanting to chill out by myself for a couple of hours after a long day. I work 6 days out of the week while I'm home to pay for my car insurance, my phone, build my savings, and have extra money to do things with my friends. Is not me neglecting the family.
it's decompression time.
It is decompression time.
And that's how it needs to be explained.
But if you're only carving out time for your friends and you're neglecting the family, I would take that personally. Because she just said she wants to have extra money to go do things with her friends. You hiding yourself away, yeah, your parents are 100% taking this personally right now. They don't know what's going on with you. They have no idea. They probably have no idea they've made you feel the way that you felt. They probably have no idea that they're continuing to still do so. When I'm on autopilot, I say shit out of the side of my neck. When I'm on autopilot, I'm not paying attention to my tone. I'm not paying attention to my volume. I'm honestly a little bit stupider. And I need gentle reminders. Babe, where did that come from? Oh, you're right. You do not have my undivided attention right now. I'm lost in anxiety world right now. Reel it back in. Grounding sentences. Next time your mom says some super passive aggressive things in passing, be like, Mom, why do you talk to me like that?
Hey, did I do something to you today?
Right.
That's always how I would start that. Because there's a difference between why do you talk to me like that and did I do something? One's going to put them on the defensive and one is going to make them think about their actions. Mm-hmm. That matters. That's almost a form of manipulation because you're choosing your words to make somebody think about their behavior versus giving you an answer.
Well, I think asking someone, why are you talking to me like that, is a good way to make them think about what they're doing.
Most people will get defensive over that. Even wording it that way instead of why are you talking to me like that. It's still going to have an implication because it's something that they're doing wrong. You may not view it that way because you are a fucking rare breed. You're the only woman I've ever met that I've been able to tell to calm down and it not be a bad thing.
You tell me I'm crazy.
You're being crazy right now, babe. I need you to dial it. Yeah, absolutely. But normally you say some shit like that to anybody and you can expect there to be backlash, especially to a woman. Fuck you mean calm down? I am calm. Like
okay, Thor. Yeah. Continuing on.
Yeah.
I have 2 little siblings who I adore and work to foster a relationship with. I make an effort to spend at least an hour or two a day, if not more, when I have the time with the family by sitting in the living room with them, either watching TV or just talking with them. I have had many conversations with my boyfriend about how I feel that I have outgrown my parents' household and how I feel our relationship, both his and mine, as well as mine with my parents, being much better when I am not living with them and away at college.
Because you get to be free and do what you want to do.
Yeah. Parents also have especially mothers, have a really hard time of letting go of their babies. Right? I try to see the light with the darkness, and one of the hardest things in my life having to cope with is having split custody with the children's father. The nights that I didn't have the children, I was heartbroken. I would stay awake crying. I felt like I had nothing to do with myself. Like there's no purpose when my children aren't around. And a vast majority of parents don't experience that. The kids are in the home all the time. They pray for a babysitter, or hopefully grandma can take the kids for the weekend because it's been 24/7 for the last 15 years of the kids being around. So when the children finally go off into college, it's like brick wall of reality hitting the parents.
Empty nest.
Right, because now what are you going to do with the rest of your life? She's probably going through a lot. And that passive aggressiveness is probably derived from hurt. And she's probably recognizing that you don't need her anymore.
That's very real possibility. Very real possibility. So far, though, with what she's been laying out, the answer to the email is that she needs to get her own place.
Yeah. Or move in with a boyfriend.
Yeah. You know that the reason why teenagers have that rebellious stage and do the things that they do, it's because once the hormones start kicking in and their brain structure starts to shift, they believe they're their own person. Mm-hmm. And they don't understand how much it really takes to be successful in life. And I don't mean successful in like rich. I mean successful in like you're able to pay your own bills and do your own shit and thrive. And as you live with your parents and think that you fucking know what you know and that you can do it on your own and that you don't need anybody, the reality is you fucking do, because you haven't lived on your own yet. It's a whole different discussion. Mm-hmm. But teenagers believe that they are coming into their own and that they can take care of themselves. And as they start to develop that personality, mm-hmm. it starts to butt heads with their parents who are still trying to control them as they see it.
Right.
When they think that they're much bigger in their britches than they are. Mm-hmm. Getting too big for your britches. You need to dial it back a little bit.
I want to piggyback off of that and talk about the lack of community in homes. Parents have made it a point to where we are the only thing providing for you right now. Emotionally, spiritually. I can't believe you would talk to your aunt about that and not me, or whatever. I had this conversation with Carrie the other day. I want as many good people in the children's lives as possible. That's more eyes to watch them. That's more ears to listen to what's going on. That's more hands to catch something if something falls. Like, I'm not Wonder Woman as much as I want to be. I have a special place in the kids' hearts. I'm their mother. The more people in their lives does not take that away from me.
Right. It doesn't muddy it at all.
Right.
And it gives other perspectives as well.
Right. And it also shows that going into adulthood, it's okay to ask other people for help. If the children can't come to me for something, I pray that they have somebody else in their life that they can. And then when they're ready to come to me about it, I'm here. I'm not the end all be all. I'm not their life saviors. I'm just another tool in their belt that they can reach to at any time.
Yep.
We discussed wanting me to live with him, but this is where the issue lies. I know if I discussed moving out with my parents, it would cause major conflict. They would despise the idea, as I am still in school and my boyfriend and I are not married. I also know from past conversations with them about various things that they would take it personally and say that I did not want to live with them because I'm neglecting our family and not wanting to be a part of it.
Well, that's manipulation.
If that's what you guys believe, you can believe that. I'm going to go live my life and be happy because that's what the point of my life is. That is 100% manipulation, and that's not going to fly with me.
Yeah, the way that was worded is manipulation for sure. If that conversation ever came up, my response would be, first and foremost, are you sure that's what you want to do?
Right.
Have you weighed the pros and cons of all of this?
How long have you been thinking about this for?
Right. Let's have a very real down to earth discussion. There's no emotions involved here. Mm-hmm. And then the end of that conversation would be like, if this is what you want to do, you can absolutely do that. Just know that once you move out, you're not coming back. Mm-hmm. You've made a decision to go and strike out on your own. You're showing me that you're an adult. If you fail at this point,
I hope you have a backup plan.
I hope you have a savings. And granted, I would obviously be there in the event that they fuck up, because they will.
Yeah.
But I don't want them to think that they have that safety net. I want them to truly believe that they're going to have to be able to do it on their own. I don't want the kids to know that we're just going to pick them up every time they fall down.
Right.
So, earlier you said that if our son got divorced and taken for everything he had, that he could come back home. No, he couldn't. I would put him in an apartment. I would float the entire bill to get him into a place. If he needed a place to stay for a night or two, absolutely. A week while we found an apartment, I would be 100% there for that.
Oh yeah, and you're not going to live with us for 3 months.
But
That's not happening.
Yeah, if he's over 20 years old and he's got a job and he's doing life shit, I don't want you to come back here, bro. I want you to be a man. And I mean that. Like, I want you to carry your fucking life and not depend on anybody.
Including us.
Including us. I'll be there for you. You want to fucking go have a beer and talk? You want to go hunting? You want to go camping or fishing and
hit up a rage room?
Yeah. You want to hit the mitts? Whatever you want to do, bro, I got you. But like, there's things that you have to do now, and you're going to have to do them on your own. And I'll help you, but I'm not doing for you anymore.
Yeah, at a certain point, the parents need to take the back seat.
Yeah.
Continuing on.
Yes.
In other words, they would see themselves as victims of a great disservice on my part. I love my parents, and I appreciate so much everything they do for me. I just feel that our relationship would flourish so much more if they would let me have the freedom to make this decision and be supportive of it. It isn't at all that I don't enjoy them or love them, but rather that I've outgrown their rules in their house. I would consider staying here if I knew how to have a conversation about being able to live my own life while living in their house, and if I thought that would be a productive conversation. I just don't know how to bring that to them. Oftentimes, when I try to talk about my own feelings after they've made passive-aggressive comments, it turns into me wronging them in some way, and I find myself just nodding and saying, okay, as I was raised that my parents are always right, and that anything else is just me talking back or being disrespectful.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's manipulation and control.
Yeah, I don't play that game. I lived a very long time of, so I'm just a piece of shit parent then.
Also manipulation.
That's not what I said, but if that's how you took it, you said it.
Yeah. I think that it's also important to recognize that your kids may sometimes grow into people that you don't like.
Yeah.
And you don't have to like people. You're going to come in contact with people. Just because they're your kid doesn't mean that they have a right to be in your home or to do the things that you disagree with. Yep. If I wouldn't accept that behavior from somebody who's not a family member, I'm definitely not going to accept it from a family member.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I hold our family members, especially our children, to a much higher standard than some stranger at 7-Eleven.
Right. So if she's out doing a whole bunch of shit that they disagree with, drinking, doing drugs, promiscuous sex, living with a boyfriend, whatever, they have a right to feel the way they feel. Yeah. Just because you're their daughter doesn't mean that they have to tolerate your shitty behavior. Love can be accepting, but it doesn't mean that they've got to tolerate the things that you're doing. If they disagree with it, they disagree with it.
Yeah. Continuing on. Mm-hmm. I often had issues with my parents where they would yell at me for something, and instead of letting me explain the situation, they would continue to talk over me until I agreed that their version of the story was actually what happened, and therefore I was always the one in the wrong. Because of this, I am scared to talk to them about serious things like this, despite them always saying that I can tell them anything and that they want to be closer to me. Ideally, I would like to come to an understanding that I don't have to move out. I just don't know how to do so. I am also nervous of this potentially causing issues in my relationship with my boyfriend in the future because I'm trying to keep my parents happy while also maintaining the relationship I want with him. Oh gosh, no, that's not going to happen. At some point, it's going to boil down to which one's more important to you. Which relationships are more fulfilling to you. You're either going to stand your ground or you're going to be the ground that they walk on.
I don't understand why people in their 20s want to live with their parents.
Oh, I don't know either. I got out as fast as I could.
So I left. I wasn't even an adult yet.
Yeah.
I moved out before I had a driver's license. Like, went back, got a driver's license, did the thing, and then ended up homeless again. But I don't want somebody telling me how to live my life. I really do live by the motto is I do what the fuck I want. And that's the beauty of having financial freedom, being a good man, and having your own shit. Like we literally get to do what we want. I looked at you the other morning. I was like, you want to go to Vegas for Christmas? And you're like, fuck yeah. And we booked a Vegas trip. Like
we did.
it happened within 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So, and we planned the entire trip after we booked it.
Yep.
So
what are we going to do?
yeah. Why are we going out here? I don't know. It's
Yeah.
Vegas. Let's go. But that's the freedom that you have by, doing the hard work and like setting your life up. Sometimes that means you're moving out of your parents' house and living in a really, really unsafe neighborhood because that's what you can afford, driving a piece of shit ass beater car until you can build your credit to get a car while still living in that shitty neighborhood, and you just slowly start leveling your life up. If you're living at home because it's financially, you're being, what's the word I'm looking for? Financially reasonable is not the word. If you're being responsible with your money and you're saving and you're trying to make sure that you have a future planned, how long do you plan on staying there? Do you want to be 30 years old, living at your parents' house and just going to stay the night at your boyfriend's? Like, this is actually is also a dilemma for me in my head when it comes to our daughter when she starts courting and meeting men, because she's going to want to do that.
Right.
And we can tell her all until we're blue in the face, we don't want you dating anybody. She's going to want to develop relationships with people. And if she's 22 years old and trying to go stay weeks at a time with her boyfriend, you know what's happening.
Right.
So like at that point, you are being a girlfriend to somebody. It's a very much a thing. So of course your parents are going to frown on that. They want more for you. There's nothing wrong with that. The manipulation and all the control and the screaming and yelling and the bullshit that's going on is a problem.
But that's the only way that's terrible phrasing. People who do that understand that that's one way to get their way.
Learned behavior.
And they have not been shown any other way to do it.
Right. It's worked in the past.
Right.
So let's just keep doing that because we know the outcome of this type of behavior. That's the training.
He has been so gracious and understanding of me navigating this and feeling like I'm walking on eggshells around my parents, but I know that he feels I shouldn't have to. So my question is, how do I approach any sort of conversation about boundaries and me having freedom as an adult without severing the relationship with my parents? I don't want to lose my parents or my relationship with them, but I know that if I want to protect my peace and my future, sometimes that decision comes with hard truth. I hope you will take the time to read this. Again, your podcast has been a big reason I want to step up and do something, as I know how important it is to protect your own peace and that you are the author of your own life.
So my answer to this is that you're a 20-year-old adult who's choosing to live at your parents' house because you need them.
Right.
And if you are still dependent on your parents to exist, you're still a child. You can call yourself an adult because legally you can buy cigarettes in some states. Right? Like you have the ability to do certain things as an adult now. You can join the military if you want. You go get a tattoo. But in reality, if your parents are taking care of you, you are still a child.
Yeah.
You are not capable of supporting yourself and existing without the charity of other people. So if you want to have your parents' respect and you want to do this, move out onto your own. Not with your boyfriend. Get your own place.
Yeah.
Mom, Dad, I love you guys, but I think it's time for me to have my own space so that that when I come home from work or I'm done doing my exams, I can come in, I can put on the loud music and just decompress, veg out on the couch in my underwear, eat bonbons and watch TV if that's what I want to do. And I appreciate everything that you've given me and everything that you've done for me. You've really given me great values and morals in life, but it's time for me to branch out on my own and then move out.
Yep.
And if you can't afford to do that, there's a bigger conversation that needs to be had. What's your answer on that one?
We don't always get what we want.
You can't always get what you want.
You can try until you're blue in the face and trying to be respectful and use I versus you statements and still might have to end the relationship with your parents. Some people are so focused on having control over anything else that they don't care that they might lose you over it. I would also tell my boyfriend that this is going to be my life for a little bit. If you can't move out on your own and you don't want to lose the relationship with your parents and you're not ready to move in with your boyfriend because you don't want to lose that relationship, if he loved you enough, he would understand that, all right, this is one of those rough times to get us to where we want to go with our goals. And if you're there on breaks in summer, so you're there for a total of 5 months of the year. Summer breaks 2.5 months, and then including winter vacation, spring break, Thanksgiving. You're really not home that much.
No, it's probably more like three or 4 months out of the year.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's less than that. But what do you think about the fact that the boyfriend is pushing so hard for her to stand up to her parents and do this kind of shit?
That makes me feel a certain way.
How? What do you feel?
A couple of things. It could be that he's in protector mode because he recognizes that she's not in a good situation and he feels out of control. So all he can do is tell her to do something about it because he can't. His hands are tied. It could be that he could be pushing her away from her family to get his teeth deeper into her, right? If he's a bad dude and he's love bombing right now and he's doing everything to get her out of there and then isolate her, that's a problem. It could be an amalgamation of things. It could be that he's just so excited to see her that he can't stand that they only get to see each other once a week.
They've only been together for a year, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't blow up my relationship with my parents for a year-long relationship.
I wouldn't either. Now, are we right? Not over a relationship. The lack of respect, the invasion of privacy, the watering me down as my own individual person. Those were the key issues for me.
Right.
That would be what I'm willing to blow this up over. If you're not going to treat me like I'm my own person, but you want to treat me like I'm an extension of you, like I'm a third arm or another ear on your face, that's not how this works.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was hung up on the parents' rules and the fact that she lives there and, you know, them wanting to spend time with her while she's at school. And, you know, when she said that she's there working, it's to pay for the things that she wants. It's not to pay for her school or her apartment.
Right.
It's to pay for her car insurance, her cell phone, and to have extra money to spend and save.
Yeah.
So, like, I understand if you're coming home because school's out and you're coming here to live, as a parent with a 20-year-old kid, I'm thinking you're coming to spend time. So I would expect you to spend time. And if you're not at work and you're here, like I would, you know, parents miss their kids,
Right.
especially when if they've, you know, going through that empty nest shit. Like there's a whole lot of two sides of the coin that's happening right now. And so while you were holding on to the manipulation aspect and the control, which is a really valid point, I was hung up on she's an adult now. The parents are still trying to guide her behavior to make her a good person because that's what parents are supposed to be doing. And I really approached it more from a parent aspect, trying to make it like.
I was talking about the boyfriend. What are you talking about?
Well, the parents were invasive.
Right.
Who you on the phone with? They became passive aggressive. There was an air of control and shit from the parents. So when you said that, I thought you meant from the parents, not from the boyfriend.
I commented like the parents like bleeding privacy and like treating me like I'm an extension of them. I was talking about the parents,
Okay.
100%.
Well, I was also talking about the parents.
Right.
But you just said you were talking about the boyfriend.
Right. I was talking about the boyfriend being controlling. Like if he's trying to isolate her from her family to do nefarious things, that's a problem.
Well, you have to. She's in college.
Right.
They've been together for a year, and she's staying at his house on a regular basis. They're fucking, which is what the parents don't want to happen.
Right.
She's going for a psychology degree, and he's a blue collar worker.
What?
She's going for a psychology degree.
Is that what she said?
She's going to become a psychologist. That's what I believe. That's what she said at the beginning of the email. So I'm assuming her parents are paying for that. There's a whole lot of schooling that has to go involved in that, and they want to see her succeed. What happens if she gets pregnant by this dude, drops out of college, never gets her degree, becomes a stay-at-home mom, isolates herself away from the family, and they stop talking to her, and she no longer has a support system because of her actions? I think that there's a lot of understanding that needs to be had here. They need to be able to have an honest conversation with things that are going on. Like the parents are clearly worried about what she's going to be doing, but they're going about it in the wrong way.
I would have a conversation of I'm feeling suffocated. I was raised by two really good parents, and I would like the opportunity to earn your guys' trust in that. And then I would do a laundry list of examples of I was an honor roll all through high school, valedictorian, 4.0 GPA. Like I really haven't done anything that I feel has warranted this type of scrutiny over me. And then that can open the conversation of like, I don't know if that means that you guys are worried that I don't need you anymore. because I'm always going to need my parents. And then offer reassurance and validation in the conversation, and don't bring it to a place of fuck you or fuck me coming from them.
I agree. I wonder how much of this is religious based.
I bet a lot of it, because they're all devout Catholic. She even said, I'm a Catholic. So she's following that religion, even though she felt her parents are over endearing in it.
Right, but she's not following it to the level that they
No.
seem to be. I think that the difference between a relationship and religion is that religion allows you to judge others.
Yeah.
And to be that person. Just leave it at that. Versus having a relationship and trying to do the
Judging
right
myself.
thing. Yeah. Let's see. Someone said this type of helicopter parent truly tap dances on the line between appropriate and controlling. You agree with that? Because
Tap dancing on the line between appropriate and controlling.
yeah,
I think helicopter parenting is controlling, period.
it is. I don't think this.
Yeah.
I don't think this is helicopter parenting. I don't think this is helicopter parenting. She's an adult.
Right.
I just wanted. That was it. That was literally all I had to say. I just wanted, before you ran on your tangent, I just wanted to say that. Did you forget what you were going to
Yeah,
say?
it's gone.
I think that. Let me read it again. I don't think that there's a line of appropriate or controlling in this situation. I think the parents are overstepping a lot because they're trying to do what they believe is best for their kid. Mm-hmm. And she's a young woman who is becoming her own person, and she's trying to find her individuality and where she fits into the world. And she's doing it in a way that her parents disagree with. And we say it all the time on the podcast that you can do the things that you want to do. You just can't do them around me.
Right.
And if you're going to do that and you have those boundaries, and the parents have set boundaries of what is and what is not acceptable in their house, it's their fucking house. She has to accept that. And if she doesn't want to accept that, she's going to have to move out.
Right.
But I don't think moving in with the boyfriend is the answer. I think having her own spot and like becoming a lady for a while and worrying about her life as an adult is.
I agree with that.
Bethany said, "Oh, how I've missed seeing the lives." We've been doing a lot of them. Brianna said, "I thought my parents were very controlling, but learned as I got older they were trying to save me from my own behavior." That's it. That's it. Bethany said, "This isn't helicopter parenting. This is control coming from someone whose parent treated them the same way, and she now wonders why I'm no contact."
Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm happy.
Yeah.
I am. I'm happy. Writing my book has put a lot of things in perspective for me. It's
I love that.
allowed me to fixate on things and
chew on things.
reflect, and compare. We've said in the beginning that this when we started this, I was semi-retired. I was
Right.
pretty much done working. And I'm grateful that we have what we have, and I love the podcast, and it makes me feel fulfilled. But I'm happy in life, and the depression that I had before, a lot of that stemmed from loneliness. And even though I don't have a lot of in life friends to do shit with, I do have enough people in my life now that I have people that check all kinds of boxes. So if I need to have a nerd conversation, I can. If I want to have a violent conversation, I can. If I want to talk about science with somebody, I have people that I can talk to about just about everything now. So like, there's not, oh man, I wish I had somebody who understood. You know what I mean? Like, there's just, I don't know. Our life has become very satisfying. I'm just grateful.
I'm glad you're happy, babe. I'm glad to hear that you're happy in life. I was really worried that you were just going to be getting by because I have children and waiting for them to leave the home.
I thought that was going to be the case too. If being honest, we've talked about that. I was going to forfeit the next 15 to 16 years of my life to have the rest of my life with you without the kids in the picture. That's the way that it looked to me when we got married. But I think that the situation with the kids has changed so much. If I could adopt the kids right now, they would have my last name. They would be mine. And I'm so fucking proud of the kids that they are and who they're becoming and the way they're handling things. And there's a blessing in that for me. And I didn't see the blessing at first. I saw it as an obstacle. So my perspective on that has shifted. Knowing that they don't want to go to school without telling Pops goodbye and they love him.
Yeah.
And little man giving me hugs and telling me I'm the greatest dad in the world. Like, there's a lot that goes into all of that is rewarding on a level that I didn't think I was going to get. So
I'm glad.
Being a bonus dad, there's a lot of fear of just being that extra parent. I had a conversation with dude at the house last night that was, he's raising 2 kids that are not his and one that is. And the 2 kids that aren't his are pulling the "I fucking hate you" shit, even though they think that he's their real dad and he knows they're not. So there's a level in him where he's like, "Oh, well, you can fucking go." Like, I wants to call their mom and be like, "You need to tell them the truth, because they're over here acting really ungrateful towards me and I don't have to do this. They're not mine."
Right.
Like, there was a whole lot of like what if and fear and all of that too. So I don't think that I'll ever have to worry about any of that with them. I think that we've established enough of a relationship that they do truly love me as a man. And that means a lot to me.
Yeah.
So
Lose my damn mind if I hear any of the children talking to you like that.
yeah.
There's going to be a heel flying through the house and be like, "Didn't mom go to Publix?" Yeah. Turn to Superman real quick. Bust that door open.
Yeah. With that being said, guys, thanks for tuning in. Remember, you are the author of your own life,
So grab a pen.
and we will see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.